Hi everyone, Armoured Pants here, and I have another video for you in the German line. This is the Tier VII TD, the store Emil, and we have a complete guide for you as always, following on from the Nashorn, which we recently posted. We look at the tech spec first, and we look at blitzhanger.com, a great asset for all blitzers. Now, the Stuart Emil is similar to Nashorn, but there are also significant differences, so we're going to look at those as we go through the technical review. You can see here it's before the Nashorn and after the Nashorn and before the Rim Borsig, which we're going to look at next. Now, I'd use chocolate to max out the view range, which is important for a TD, and also the top gun is important because really you have no promo here, so 169mm of pen on the lower gun is a problem, particularly if you're up tiered. However, when you go to the top gun, you get 231mm pen on the AP, 65mm on the HE, and that's really important because you only have AP and HE rounds. So therefore, going up from the 105mm to the 128mm gun is extremely important. It is a TD, so if you're grinding, get the top gun first. It's key to playing this tank well. After all, a tank destroyer really is always all about the gun. Now, looking here, we see that it says the DPM goes down, but we know that's not true because when the pen goes up, your actual DPM versus theoretical DPM goes up as well. So actual DPM is much better. Now, key difference between this and a Nashorn is it's much slower. It's very slow line, just 25 kilometers an hour in a straight line. So therefore, you need to be aware that you're not going to be able to get around the map as well as you did in Nashorn. So therefore, selection of your initial position is key in this tank. Now, it has a big gun, but the muzzle velocity, as you will see, is low. It's only 880mm per second. So what we're going to do is we're going to maximize that using supercharge to get up to 1144 meters per second. That's extremely important, particularly when shooting over distance, because the shell goes faster over that distance, makes it more accurate, and increases the possibilities of penetration. Key difference number 2 is the gun depression. The gun depression on this tank is amazing. It's 15 degrees. That is phenomenal. It's one of the best in Blitz. Very few tanks have gun depression like that. And this allows you to adopt firing positions in this tank, which you just can't in others. And we mentioned earlier that one of the other key differences is that the tank is much slower. Also, earlier I forgot to mention that actually the reload is much slower on the Nashorn as well, so you need to be aware of that too. So you're going to do a lot more damage. You're going to be doing between 400 and 500 alpha rolls even on your AP. You're going to be doing 600 on your HE, but the reload is over 11 seconds, so you need to be aware of that slower reload. There's zero armor on this tank. It's just a shell magnet, right? Just looking at the profile here, you'll see that, you know, it's just, you know, everything's going to pen you. But the key difference compared to Nashorn is that it does have this large gun mantlet, and you will get shots bouncing off that. Now, you can't really play for this, but when you fire, if you move, roll backwards, wiggle that front of the tank around, you will get some bounces. Also, we see here on the sides, the relative armor thickness on the sides of the turret is not bad. You can see they're going into red numbers up at 291mm of relative armor. Now, you can see that flat on, this armor is very weak, but if you wiggle and jiggle, fire and move, then you will get some bounces. You can't play for them, but you will get them and take them as a bonus. Now, you've got an open top, as you do with the Nashorn. Your ammo rack is exposed, therefore you're going to have HE fired at you all the time. It doesn't really matter what scale you look at this tank in, it is a shell magnet, and you're going to absorb shells in this. So therefore, when you think about strategy, how to play this tank, well, you should, when you're getting used to this tank, you should play from the back. So therefore, typical tank destroyer play tank destroyer by the numbers. If you're unfamiliar with what that is, take a look at the tank destroyer guide that we have on channel here. You're also going to have to use deflection shooting when you're firing with this gun, because even though you're using supercharge to maximize the muzzle velocity, it's still pretty low. Therefore, you need to fire into where your shots are going to be rather than where they are right now. The targets are going to move, therefore you need to fire in front of your targets and let them roll into it. This is deflection shooting. It's described, and there's a guide to it in the tank destroyer guide that we have on channel 2, so have a look. So this is when you're starting off with the tank. When you get more experience with the tank, when you get more comfortable with it, you can use other things. So team support, for example, following the mediums. And you're going to see in the game that I use, I decide actually to support my mediums because I think they're going to be outgunned. So I decide that if I go up behind them, let them spot them up, I can maybe use my gun to good effect and we can clear the right flank. So we are going to be playing on Black Goldville, and you're going to see a supremacy game in the store Emil. Now I don't follow the play by numbers for TD in this game because I've been playing it for some time. I got a bit more comfortable with it, so after checking setup I decided to go right towards A, and I'm going to support my meds as they push on to A. Now I am up tiered in this as well, so I need to be careful. But what I'm doing is I am cognitive of the fact that I do have this fantastic gun depression, so I'm going to use this hill here, this slight hill here before A, and I'm going to use this for my firing position because that should allow me to expose just the very top of the tank and fire some shots over. Now after a pretty unpromising start to this game, where I get pummeled, you'll see here I stick my snout over and I get a few shots into me, which is not good for me. So I fluff my shot, and the next time I stick my snout over I'm already spotted, so I get hit. But after that though, this is coming up now, I'm going to get a couple of hits here, and there we go. Yeah, so not good for me, but I roll back anyway, fluff my shot again, so I've done 0 damage now. But now I start to play a bit better, plus we have reinforcements coming up. And now look at this gun. This is what this tank is all about. The gun on this is amazing. Even the smallest of targets you can see there, 528 roll, just with standard AP around. And get that bounce. You see, this is what I was talking about. If you're constantly moving, I'm not saying you're definitely going to get bounces, but you can get them. Now this ISU, he just has a hard on for me. He just decides to go YOLO and try to kill me. I'm moving, and now I'm going to put a round into him, and then he's going to take the rest of his hit points with the ram. The actual lower part of this tank does actually have a little bit of armour on it. Not so much, but the angle that it, where the two plates meet actually allows you to have a little bit of an angle there, and that allowed me to do some damage to him. Now, this is what this gun is about. Look at this gun depression, and look at that shot. The smallest of targets right into the turret of the Indian Panzer, and almost a 450 alpha roll, and that's what this tank is about. It's about that gun, and it's about that gun depression. And I'm kind of keeping relatively safe there because I'm just using the gun depression to show the minimum amount possible of my tank to the enemy. Nice easy shot here coming up. You can see what I mean there about using supercharge, why it's important. It makes firing over distance a lot easier. It makes the gun a lot more accurate. I'm just going to clear him off now. Last shot, another kill. And now this game is more or less won. It's 5-1, and now it's just mopping up exercise. And now for me it's just to see what additional damage or kills I can get to try to get the mastery badge. Beautiful shot right across the long distance there, straight into the IS-3 at the back. The gun on this thing is really good. The 128mm cannon is just fantastic and allows you to do some fantastic shots, as you saw there in the Indian Panzer. But the tank, as you see here when I'm moving, is slow. You're not going to be able to get around the map. You're going to play in a small pocket of the map. Unlike the Nashorn before it and the Borsig after it, it's not that maneuverable. So therefore you are going to suffer in that respect. So you need to choose your position carefully, choose your initial strategy and tactics in the game carefully. So there we go, mastery badge in the store. Emil, over 3.5k of damage, over 1050 XP, and XP, as we always say, is what delivers the mastery badges. Give the IS-3 a thumbs up because he played well and he played as a team player, and that's what this game is all about. It's all about team play. Can see here I did a lot of damage or spotting on most of the enemy, so good team performance from me as well, so I'm quite happy with that. And also, as it was up tiered, I think it was a pretty good game. And I think the key decision in that game was deciding earlier on to push to the right to support my meds at A, because otherwise we were going to get overwhelmed. And also when I went there, It also brought up the IS-3 and some others, and we were able to hold that flank. Otherwise, the game could have gone very differently if we'd been flanked there. And by the way, this tank, the Stuart Emil, one of its key weaknesses is if you're exposed. If meds or light tanks isolate you, you're dead. Now, just to recap, this is a very tough tank to play, and it's a tough tank in a tough line. So there's no shame in struggling with this tank. As with the Nashorn before and the Borsig after it, this tank is not easy to play, not easy at all. And in actuality, it just doesn't suit some people. Some people, I know great Blitz players who just don't like this line and don't like playing it. They just give up after Nashorn or give up after this. And there's no shame in that at all. So there's nothing wrong with you not liking this tank and not being good at it at all. But this tank is all about the gun. So get the top gun ASAP if you're deciding that you want to persist with it. The 128mm gun is great, as you saw in that game. The 231mm pen on AP is fantastic and will go through almost everything. But it does have a slow reload. It's considerably over 11 seconds. It's tough, so you need to make your shots count. I would use supercharged to maximize that muzzle velocity, and use the gun depression where you can, because the gun depression is awesome and something that very few tanks have. At 15 degrees is really amazing. Check the setup at the start of the game. Choose your tactics accordingly. When you're starting with the tank, just sit at the back and support your team. As you get more comfortable with the tank, you can choose different strategy, but choose carefully, because it's difficult to readjust during the game because the tank is so slow. The Mantlet and cover are really your only defense. You don't really have too much else, so make sure that you try to stay in cover and use that gun depression if you can, because you have no armor, none at all. Now, you will get some bounces, as I showed in that game, but you can't play for them, and you should just take them as a bonus. You're going to be a HE magnet because of that lack of armor, and HE doesn't bounce, so you're going to usually take damage. We will get some ricochets on the AP, though, as we saw in that game. So you do need to keep safe. Play from behind your teammates. Even if you're going to support meds, play from behind them. This is not a frontline tank. Don't go frontline. You will die quickly and often. And you do need a good team to play well in this tank. You need your team to spot for you. You need your team to make the right choices at the start of the game, because you can't really influence it considerably yourself because of your speed and your other handicaps. Now, the music was Mozart's Horde Concerto. Hope you liked it. And I guess all that remains for me to say is cheers, Mush. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you found the video useful. Borsig is coming next. And I guess all I need to say now is pants off.